I believe that every single human being has the power inside them to transform themselves and to transform their lives.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Chris Curran. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful day?
Yeah, it is a beautiful day. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Angel.
Well, it's a good pleasure to connect with you. I do know you most recently, but I think the question is still one I should ask. Which of your talents do you believe is responsible for us ultimately connecting, Chris?
Oh boy. Well, I think we connected in the podcasting space, so I think it's probably my podcasting and maybe even more specifically my expertise in audio production, because I am an audio engineer. So that's probably at the root of being responsible for us meeting.
Who did you learn what you learned in the podcasting or even in the sound engineering space from?
Well, yeah, I got into audio engineering officially in the early 90s. Although in the late 80s when I was in high school, I was recording myself, my drums, and my band. So I went to school for that, and then I went to New York, and I worked in a bunch of the big studios in New York. And then it wasn't until 2012 that I got into podcasting. I learned what it was, and I got into it, and I learned how to do it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is audio. I know how to do audio. So then I started a bunch of shows, and I opened a physical studio as well, a podcast studio, way back in 2012.
All committed. What
Yes.
were some of the shows you did in the podcasting space?
Oh, well, right now I do the podcast engineering show. That's my main show right now, which supports my school. I've done a lot of them in the past, and most of them are not happening anymore. I do the Mystic Show, which is about spirituality and meditation. I haven't done an episode in a little while, but I still do that show. But yeah, I've done a lot of shows with a lot of different co-hosts, and I also produce shows for the people too. So that's like my main business, is producing shows for others. So
Where can people connect with you to find out more about that podcasting engineering show, even the school?
yeah, the website is podcastengineeringschool.com, and everything's there. Yep.
It seems to me that you're a guy that loves to serve. Am I getting that wrong, or is that accurate?
I do like to serve, and I like to teach as well, for sure. Yeah.
Who did you get that from? Who did you learn that from?
I don't know. Well, I guess you'd have to bring that back to when I started practicing meditation in 2003, because at that time my life was a complete mess. I had just done so many stupid things, and I ended up with no money, no car, no place to live. And I realized in my life, I said, man, this is not good. I'm doing something fundamentally wrong. And so I started a meditation practice, because I knew deep down that at the heart of everything we're doing here is our spiritual nature. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about what's in our hearts as spiritual beings. So I started a meditation practice, and that really helped me get my entire life on track. It took a few years to get back, but that practice and being able to help people learn how to meditate, and I sort of learned how to not be such a taker, because I think especially in the United States, everyone is a taker. Everyone just wants everything and give me. And that's the kind of attitude that got me in major trouble with my life. And so, giving back a little bit and helping other people, that's what I learned from, my meditation teachers. And I think that has carried over into other areas of my life.
That's super cool. So tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Over the last 3 years, well, I've been doing my school consistently. I've also been doing my show consistently. I've also been attending podcasting events consistently, which I really like doing that. I mean, a lot of people who do podcasting or they're in the podcasting space, they don't go to the big conferences, and the big conferences are so fun and so helpful, and you really get to connect with people face to face. So I've been doing that. Another thing I've been doing is hiking, because we moved to Colorado 4 years ago. So we've been doing a lot of hiking in the mountains, which has been really fun.
Oh, the Red Rocks. Oh, do you get up there often?
We went there once. So we live down in Colorado Springs, which is near Pikes Peak.
Right.
So it's a little bit of about an hour and a half from Denver. But yeah, we like to drive around and go hiking in all different places. We climbed 2 14ers already, which was pretty difficult for us.
When you say we, though, who are you speaking about?
My wife. Me and my wife.
All right. So you're a married guy. All right. Okay. Ooh, I knew that. I'm playing Amazing Audience. Well, that's wonderful. Well, let's switch gears, my friend. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Chris, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory? I remember living on this one street. I remember playing outside, and the trees were like really big and old. Like in New Jersey, which is where I grew up, there's some neighborhoods in New Jersey where the trees are just really big and they're kind of old. And so like there's a little wind blows or something, always ends up being these sticks on the ground. And I don't know, I just remember playing on the sidewalk with my brother. I guess it's not, it's not a magical first memory, but I don't know.
It is what it is. Yeah. How old do you think you were?
How old? I was probably, I don't know. I'm going to guess 4, something like that. I really don't even know.
If you could, how do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it does. That was just something I could remember. But yeah, my childhood definitely has played a part in who I am today. I mean, my mother growing up was very, she encouraged me a lot in every area, not only school, but sports, and really supported me and my brothers. So obviously that helped inform me a lot. So.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Sure.
Ooh, I love the beauty of a tree and what it represents, the stillness, the power that can occur by not having mobility, which I connect to the concepts you've applied through meditating. And again, there are different types of meditation, right? They're moving meditation, so it's not necessary that you need to be one place. But for those that do sit in quietness, the tree in itself, it sits there. And of course, it can be taken advantage by the wind and other nature, natural things. But just to visualize what's going on, what seems as though there's nothing going on, but there's so much going on in stillness. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
When I was 12, I don't know. I really don't know. But that's when I started to get into music, and MTV was around because I was 12 in 1984.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess probably, that song Jump by Van Halen. I think that was in the charts around that time. Yeah, because I sort of gravitated towards a little heavier music.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's super cool. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, probably a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Chris, are you ready?
Yes.
Chris, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I've chosen a lot of people, all the students who attend my school, yes.
That's super cool. Well, you said you're married, right? Do you have children?
Actually, no.
All right. Do you believe in God?
Well, of course, because in the question is the answer, but not in a way that most people do. I'll say that.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
A very small inner circle, I guess you would say. Very small.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No. Nope.
How about 3 hours a week?
Well, I do watch YouTube, so probably...
Let's do screen time then. Yeah, let's do screen time. More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, a day less. Definitely less. Yeah.
All right. And reading, how often do you read?
I read pretty much all the time. Yeah, I have a pile of books, and I always buy new books, so I am reading a lot. But I don't read quickly, so that's the thing.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Chris Curran is, what would you say that is?
I believe that every single human being has the power inside them to transform themselves and to transform their lives. And I think it's important to get in touch with this power inside of ourselves, each of us individually. And that's the real mystery of life. In today's world, it's all about politics and fighting and so many issues outside of us. But when you look inside yourself, that's where the real power is. That's the beauty of being a human being. And so if anyone can do that, that's really important.
Love it. Chris, this was a great pleasure. A pleasure I treasure. Before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No. Well, thank you for listening, and I'm happy to be a part of this. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help answer.
Well, there we go. Chris Curran again. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.